Russia has cut headline interest rates back to the level they were at before the invasion of Ukraine.
The cost of borrowing now stands at 9.5%, but Russia's central bank has warned that conditions remain, quote, challenging. It's hinted that more rate cuts could be on the way.
Despite the widespread sanctions on Russian goods and exports since the invasion of Ukraine, the value of the ruble has been surging on the money markets, partly buoyed by high energy prices.
Sergey Aleksashenko is a Russian economist and also former deputy finance minister and the first deputy chairman of the board of the Central Bank of Russia, and joins us now. Thank you for joining us. Russia cut its key interest rate by 150 basis points to 9.5%, back to the pre-war level. Just how significant is this, do you think?
It is a very significant step if you are Vladimir Putin and you want to understand that Russian economy is able to resist sanctions pressure. So the situation is normalizing. The exchange rate of the ruble is even stronger than it was before the war. Inflation fell down to zero, unlike in the United States where inflation is 1% month-over-month. And that's why the central bank is able to cut its key rate. So being in Vladimir Putin's shoes, you should be happy, you should applaud, and you should dance and smile that sanctions doesn't work. In real life, in practical work, I would not overestimate this decision. Yes, inflation is down, but there is no demand for credits. I just had a meeting, a Zoom meeting with one of the Russian bankers from one of the biggest private banks, and he said there's no demand for credit. And we do not understand how Russian companies, do they need any money in the future? Because all of them, they are putting their investment projects on hold. They are not able to import any equipment. They do not foresee any significant growth of the economy in the coming 2 or maybe 3 years. That's why we understand that the balance sheet of our bank will shrink maybe by 10 or 15% within 2 years. So in this particular situation, the interest rate does not play a very significant role. But at the very last point, if inflation is zero and key rate is 9.5%, it's very tight monetary policy, by the way.
And one thing that surprised some economists is how the ruble, the currency, has been holding up. How do you think the central bank has managed to defend it so effectively?
It's very simple, because ruble became non-convertible currency. The central bank, being honest, it was not central bank by Vladimir Putin. He signed a decree which banned all capital transactions out of Russia for foreign companies and even for Russian residents. Moreover, he has banned some of the current transactions. For example, Russian companies are not allowed to pay dividends to foreign investors in foreign currency. They're allowed to pay it only in rubles, and these rubles are non-convertible. And on the other hand, there is not only export controls, export sanctions, and export embargo from Western countries, Russian companies who import consumer goods or some goods that are not under export control, they cannot find new logistics. They cannot build logistics because shipping companies refuse to deliver containers to Russian seaports. And European Union has blocked access of Russian trucks to Europe, and Belarus has blocked access of European trucks to Belarus and Russia. So the shrinkage in import and the ban on capital transaction, that means there's no demand for currency. And it is a basis of the market economy. If there is no demand, the price is falling down. That's why dollar and euros, they have no value. You cannot purchase anything having them in Russia.
And looking at domestic demand, a bit of a confusing picture then around the economy and inflation and the currency rate. What's it like for ordinary people on the ground, the economic situation?
The economic situation is deteriorating from day to day, and the inflation, despite official data, is zero. I have my special investigation research with the support of my YouTube supporters, bloggers, who try to collect data on retail prices all over the country, and they understand that prices are growing. Food price is not skyrocketing, but still it's moving at least 1% a month, and the living standards are declining. The number of goods on the shelves is shrinking, and so yes, it's inflation and it's deteriorating of standards of living. But we have to understand it's not like a fall of the stone from the rock. Yeah, yes, it's slow. It's slow coming, snow avalanche. but the life is becoming worse and worse from day to day.
And just lastly then, the war in Ukraine looks like it's going to become protracted, a costly war for Russia as well. Where next for the Russian economy, do you think?
The Russian economy will be more simplified and more constrained in its ability to build anything new. That's the most important outcome for the Russian economy. It will not collapse because Russia is a very important supplier of natural resources, of commodities to the world market. That's why it will survive. Russia is producer of a bulk of agricultural goods, so the country may feed itself. But the economy will be very simple. It will be the gap, technological gap in both consumer and industrial spheres will be widening from day to day, from month to month. And I don't know, 10 years from now, the gap, technological gap between Russia and the West will be the same as in the time of the Soviet Union.
That's the view of Sergey Aleksashenko, the former Deputy Finance Minister of Russia and Russian economist. Thanks for joining us.